Today we're going to be speaking about when the topic of today is man plans and God laughs. It's a famous saying, and it's actually really true. I don't know if God really laughs, but I think it's really meant that God um, interprets it that whatever we think we're planning for ourselves is not ultimately in control. We're not in control of our fully in control of our own actions and what the outcome of the actions will be. That ultimately there's a creator above that is controlling all this. For example, you have somebody that will take a medication, and when they're sick, they have a headache, they have fever, whatever it is, and they'll be okay. They get they have asthma, they take a pump, they're fine. They get some infection, they take antibiotics, and they're okay after a few days. We might naturally think and get trained to think that this is normal. Oh, well, of course I take a pill. But no, those pills are working because Hashem is involved, and he's there making that miracle happen at that very moment for something that we got used to being normal. At times, sometimes for some people, certain antibiotics doesn't work anymore. And so then only at that point do they realize that they have to fully rely on God to do something about it. And so not everything is so clear. And so, for example, in a situation, where it's raining, it's outside with even naturally, we say, oh, our day is ruined, but then it could clear up at that very moment. Maybe you had an event of some sort for your work, or you had a wedding outside, and then the sky clears up right before it's time to get married. These are things that, again, are not in our control. This is why we can plan to have this event, but the outcome is that it may or may not happen, at the choice of God. You also see this with people that are exercising. There are people that are exercising every single day. They exercise like crazy and they lose weight. And then you see some that exercise, they go on all these diet programs, and it just doesn't work for them. And they're not capable of achieving the same results that someone else can achieve. And so there's really no system that can guarantee what actually will the outcome be, except for us knowing that whatever God chooses and decides is the ultimate way. And so one example that the book talks about is with Dr. Robert Atkins. He created the Atkins diet, as many of you might know. And it's, a low carb, high protein diet. And, he was healthy all his life. And it just happened to be that he passed away from a accident, a slip and fall on ice by fracturing his skull at the age of 72. So he didn't die, yes, this diet was important, but at the end of the day, we can learn from this that, if the end is near, or it's the time to go, it doesn't matter how much you try and what you do to try to live a longer life. God is in control of our everyday, of our every action, and whether he decides that we should stay in the world for completing our mission that we have. I have a personal friend of mine that I just met with last night, actually, and we spoke about a job that he was getting, and he had this job. He was going to get this job, and he got the job offer. And when it came time to get to finalizing the paperwork, they decided to just withdraw and not go forward. And it was going to be a job that was going to give him the biggest salary that he could have ever expected or dreamed to have. And essentially, what happened was I told him that this is the biggest blessing, because what he didn't understand is that he has the ability and the capacity to do the business on his own and not be an employee. And he was offered another opportunity where he was able to bring his own business into the firm, and basically he can bring his own clients. And essentially, over the course of 1 or 2 years, he might even make 2 times or 3 times the income he was offered at the other job. The other job, and my grandfather taught me this, is that when you He taught my father taught me, is that if, in that situation, if he would have had that 9 to 5 job, he would have been capped by what God would have given him as an opportunity for income. Now that he's able to work for himself, kind of, work for the other company, but also get a percentage of new business, essentially it opened up the floodgates and gave him the opportunity to bring in as much business and increase his income with the hard work that he's going to bring in. So anything can happen today. Yesterday, actually, the FTX exchange that is owned by Sam Friedman Bank, he's literally almost collapsed, and he had to be bailed out. His net value in the cryptocurrency world went down from $14 billion to under $1 million, about under $1 billion, 900 million. So he went from 14 billion to 900 million in one day. So you see, God at any time could decide to just take away 90% of your wealth. It's a crazy thing when we think about it. But at the same time, God could give you wealth and give you blessings just as fast. I hope that this can be a reminder that every single day we don't forget who's controlling the world, and we can plan as much as we want. We have to do our part, but just remember that at the end of the day, there's a plan that's being constructed and put together by God.